places in the WAC you guys are going. It's your first time playing these schools. Was it the first time for you and a lot of the players there? How was it going to these what seems like new schools and new gyms?
Yeah, we, leading up to this last week, we talked about this is really our first WAC trip, playing two of the WAC schools that we had not played before. And it was a cool trip. We were gone for 6 days. It's about 1,900 miles to Seattle, and then you take a plane 1,100 miles south to California, another 1,800 miles back to Abilene. So it was a big trip. It was good, I think, for us just to experience that and see what that's like, and play two really good opponents. Saw two really cool cities, in Seattle and Riverside, California. So, that part of it, the travel part, was good to kind of get that under our belt and see what that will be like.
And then as far as the games, two interesting games, that strong start against Seattle, tough fourth quarter, and then against Cal Baptist, ironically, probably one of the best games you've played all year. That's just an incredible team. What'd you make of the road trip?
Yeah, it was really disappointing to come back without at least one win. We played well enough to win or to have the lead going into the fourth quarter in both games. And the wheels kind of fell off in Seattle in the fourth quarter. We couldn't hit a shot, and then we couldn't stop their transition in the fourth quarter. But, the game at Cal Baptist is a very well-played game by both teams, really fast-paced. Both teams kind of doing what they do well. And, came down to the final about 22 seconds, and, we couldn't get a good look. And, that was kind of the tell of the game. But really proud of our players just for locking into, play two really different teams, two teams obviously on the road. We came home with some encouragement. We had some players that stepped up. Nicole Kramer had a really good week. Bella Earl continues to play really well for us. It was our third week of WAC play, playing shorthanded. But we're not unlike, teams all over the country. People are trying to navigate that. And so we're hoping today, knock on wood, that we've got everybody back, and maybe we'll get a week under our belt with a full roster and everybody healthy. But, we were disappointed. We didn't win at least one game. It's hard to win on the road, but, if you can steal a couple of games on the road, you're going to have a really good season. And so it just puts a little bit more pressure on you when you come home. You've got to take care of business at home for sure.
I feel like on both your guys' side and the men, there's been so many close games, but especially for you guys, what is that? Is it, exhausting to be in these tight games in the fourth quarter every week? I'm sure you kind of like it as a coach in a sense because it can build a lot of character of your team. Just what is that like in all these close games?
As a coach, you go into these games telling your team, if we can keep it close going into the fourth quarter, we have a chance to win the game. You just don't want to, get down far before that final 10 minutes. And our team's done a pretty good job of that, just staying in games. I think it just speaks a lot about the WAC and how talented all the teams are. You're not going to see many runaway games in this league. Every team is well coached, and venues are all, interesting, and travel is interesting. And so I think we're going to continue playing in a lot of close games. We're going to see those all over the league for the rest of the season.
Now, two Texas teams this week. One you're awfully familiar with in Lamar. You've played them, the last couple of years in the Southland. Just the energy and hunger coming back home next week, and then what have you seen from the two opponents so far?
Yeah, we're digging into that video right now. UTRGV and Lamar, they're kind of hot right now, and they're I think they're full rostered up, and they've got everybody ready to go. And so these are going to be really tough games. We're going to see a lot of defensive pressure. That part of it, I think, is going to be really different than what we just saw on the road, where it was more offensive-minded. These two teams are very defensive-minded. UTRGV, they really spread the floor out like we do. They like to shoot threes. So it'll be two, really good opponents coming in here. My hope is that our team is, just really mad about this last week, and we get back to work in practices this week, just trying to, solve a few deficiencies we had on the road, and just get back to playing Wildcat basketball this week.
Okay, I was going to be done, but that last statement was interesting because Coach Tanner, when this team lost 5 in a row, he was saying how he's not worried about his roster at all. He knows the maturity of the players. You saying you hope your team is mad. What kind of sense do you get from the locker room, and what confidence do you have that even when things go awry a little bit, that they're still going to stay on the right track?
Yeah, after both the games on the road, just a sense of discouragement in the locker room just because it was like it was right there and we let it slip away. There were some self-imposed problems, in the fourth quarter in both games. Either we didn't have someone in perfect help side, or we took a shot too early in the shot clock, just some things like that, or just an extra pass gets us a higher percentage shot. And so, we feel like we stubbed our toe in both games, down the stretch in the fourth quarter. So it's discouraging. We dropped the games, but encouraging. It's like, hey, we just need to get a little bit better here, a little bit better there. And I think that's the hard thing as a coach, is like we were so close, so close to having a really special week, but it wasn't special at all the way it turned out. But we're just like right there. It's not like we're way out of this thing, but it's a good reality check for me, for our staff, for our players to understand that, like, every single game is going to be a battle down to the very end, and we have to focus on controlling the things that we can control. At no point in the game do we need you to go rogue. Just stay with the game plan and follow through what we work on every day. We want to be a very disciplined team and a team that plays well together. And so, that's going to be kind of the message this week. Like, we've got to get back to doing what we do, play Wildcat basketball, just be really disciplined, be the best team on the floor.
Coach, so in light of these past two games at least, so you only saw the free throw line 3 times, so it really wasn't something that you were kind of looking at. I know, Caitlin usually gets to the line, but you also were missing Sarah in these past few games, so she's the one that really gets to the free throw line as well. But in light of that, you did hit 12 threes, 36 of your 71, so I feel like that's also a plus. Your girls are hot from the line. A little bit about that in their shooting.
It's different styles of play give you different looks. And so, the week that we were at home, we were getting to the free throw line a lot because of the aggressive nature of the defensive opponents we played. And not to say that Seattle and Cal Baptist don't play good defense, but it's not like in-your-face pressure from baseline to baseline. And so there are not near as many fouls in those styles of play. And so, we try to hit threes, we try to get to the free throw line, but a lot of times getting to the free throw line is based on, your competition, like, how they're playing defense. But, I was pleased with the fact that our players were ready to shoot threes, ready to take open shots. So we try to take what the defense gives us for sure, and, want to put up about 35 to 40 threes a game if that's what the defense gives us. If not, we'll go ahead and get our layups and our free throws.
And so how are you going to use these 2 home games to your advantage this week, since you girls are pretty good shooting-wise from Teague? Yeah,
we are excited to be working out in Teague all week and have these 2 home games and just kind of get our legs back under us. Our players have been in class 3 days this entire semester, so it'll be good for them to have kind of a normal week where they're going to class and sleeping in their own beds, that kind of thing. But we've got to get back to work this week as far as being able to practice in our own facility and host 2 really good teams that have really good coaches. Aqua's a great coach. Her players are going to come in here fired up, ready to get after us defensively. Lane Lord's doing a great job down at UTRGV. And so, mentally and physically, we've just got to be ready to compete and, again, put ourselves in a position in the fourth quarter to win ball games.
Well, they took the majority of the touchdowns.
It's Noah, it's not me.
But one thing for me, you guys were able to keep it within 6 or 7 against Cal Baptist, who is one of the top teams in the WAC. Even though despite the loss, was that encouraging to you guys that you guys can go toe-to-toe with some of the top teams in the conference?
I think we're as good as any team in the conference. I think we can beat any team in the conference. We haven't proven that yet, but I think that we can. But because the coaches are so good, there's so many good individual players. I mean, we just played one of the best point guards in the conference at Cal Baptist, and honestly one of the best 5s as well. So our margin for error is really small. And if we will take things seriously and practice, and we'll carry those things over into the game, be super disciplined, especially defensively, I think that we can go toe-to-toe with anyone in the league. We do have a lot of respect for Cal Baptist, and they've earned that. It's been a couple of years since they lost a WAC game. But, I feel like we've got the talent. We've got, the skill set to compete for a conference championship. We've been talking about that for months, but you have to be disciplined in the games. You have to, like, believe in our system, trust yourself, trust what we're calling, and try to execute to a T, because that margin for error is so small.